Abraham and Lot parted ways, while he met Melchizedek on his way. Once upon a time, there was a man named Abram, a man of deep faith who lived in a land far away, following God's lead. With him was his nephew, Lot, and together, they traveled through the lands, growing rich in livestock, silver, and gold. They were blessed beyond measure. But here's the thing, Abram and Lot had so much wealth that the land they were living on couldn't support them both. Their herdsmen started bickering over the best grazing lands and water sources. Tensions were rising. Abram, being the wise, peaceful man he was, approached Lot with a solution. Lot, we are family. We shouldn't be fighting. The land is vast, let's not let this come between us. You pick where you want to live, and I'll go in the other direction. Lot looked out at the land before him. To one side, he saw lush, green plains near the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, fertile, easy living, everything you'd want if you had a lot of sheep and cattle. On the other side was the rugged land of Canaan, not as immediately appealing. Naturally, Lot chose the rich plains, settling near the bustling, and somewhat shady, cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abram, on the other hand, took the more challenging land of Canaan. But here's the thing, Abram wasn't worried. His faith wasn't in the land, it was in God. And that's when God stepped in with a promise. He spoke to Abram, saying, "Lift up your eyes and look as far as you can see, north, south, east, west. All of this land, I'm giving to you and your descendants. And not only that, your descendants will be so numerous, they'll be like the dust of the earth, too many to count." Imagine that. Abram, standing there in the middle of nowhere, is told by God that his family would someday be countless, spread across the land as far as the eye could see. Abram, filled with awe and trust, set up camp in Hebron, building an altar to honor God. But things weren't going so smoothly for Lot. His choice to live near Sodom. Yeah, it was about to backfire. See, what broke out, 5 Kings verses 4, and Sodom, where Lot lived, got caught in the crossfire. The city was plundered, and Lot, along with his family and possessions, was taken captive by an alliance of kings. When Abram got the news, he didn't hesitate. You might think of Abram as just an old man with a lot of sheep, but he was also a man of action. He gathered 318 of his trained men and launched a daring rescue mission. In a surprise nighttime raid, Abram and his men attacked the armies holding Lot and the other captives. They fought bravely, and against all odds, Abram won. He rescued Lot, recovered all the stolen goods, and brought everyone back home safely. On his way back, Abram encountered a mysterious figure, Melchizedek, the king of Salem and priest of the Most High God. Melchizedek blessed Abram with bread and wine, and Abram, recognizing this as a holy moment, gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything he had. It was a sacred gesture, showing that Abram trusted God more than wealth or power. But then came the king of Sodom, offering Abram riches in return for the people he had saved. Abram flat out refused. "I won't take even a thread or a sandal strap from you," he said, "because I don't want anyone saying, 'I made Abram rich.'" Abram knew his blessings came from God alone. Yet, even with all this success, Abram was troubled. He was getting older, and still, he had no children. He began to wonder, how could he become the father of a great nation with no heir? His servant, Eliezer, would inherit everything if things stayed the same. One night, God spoke to Abram in a vision. "Don't be afraid, Abram. I am your shield and your very great reward." But Abram couldn't help but express his concern. "Lord, what can you give me when I remain childless? Eliezer will inherit my estate." And then, in the middle of the night, God gave Abram a promise that would change everything. "Look up at the sky," God said. "Can you count the stars? That's how many descendants you will have." Abram's heart soared, and in that moment, he believed God fully. Because of this faith, God counted Abram as righteous. But God wasn't done. He wanted to make this promise even more real to Abram, so he told him to prepare a special ceremony. Abram gathered animals: cows, goats, rams, a turtle dove, and a pigeon, and laid them out as sacrifices, as God instructed. And Abram, well, he would go down in history as the father of nations, God's chosen man. The moral lesson of this story: 1. Trust in God's plan, even when the future seems uncertain. Like when Abram had no children, trusting in God's promises can lead to blessings far beyond what we can imagine. 2. Generosity over greed. Abram chose peace and generosity, letting Lot take the better land without argument. He showed that faith and integrity are more valuable than wealth or power. 3. Faith leads to action. Abram didn't just sit back when Lot was in danger, he took bold action. Faith is not passive, it often requires us to step up and do what's right.